What is going on? Hey, guys, it's a new feeling, you know? The Bills have won their first playoff game, advancing to the divisional round of the playoffs. Feels good. So, got my compadres with me. Clayton Garrett was up.
Not much, man. The first playoff win of my short life. So hopefully it's
Oh,
the
yeah.
first of many to come.
All right. Congratulations to Mr.
Yeah.
Garrett getting his first seeing his first Bills playoff win. Um, Fred Kilmartin was going on. I don't know if you've seen plenty of Bills playoff wins.
Yeah, this one was actually really, really special. I mean, I'm so glad that we finally got this one out of the way, and now we can move on. But before we go, let's.
As you guys know, if you've been tuning into the Cover Report, you guys know the tradition. The Bills win, and we turn to Buckethead Fred. So, Fred, go ahead, throw that bucket hat on, and hopefully
14th time this year.
14th time this year. It is a record for the bucket hat.
Yep.
Hopefully we can get what we trying to get to. Is it 16 times?
18,
No, it's 18. It's 18. No, we got
17.
1, 2,
17. Yep.
17 times. 17 times. Three more times we're good, Coach. Three more times we good this year. All right. Everybody, look at that. Everybody's waiting for the bucket hat. You know, everybody loves the bucket hat, man. Hey, what up, to everybody? Tuning in and watching tonight. We did a different time tonight. Reason we're a little bit early tonight is because obviously that Brown Steeler game has a lot of implications on the Bills, and we want to take you away from that snoozer of a game that Saints Bears game is, which got right awful. The NFC playoffs have been just downright awful this year. Outside of watching this thing on
Nickelodeon, yeah.
which has made it somewhat bearable for the NFC. Even though I don't think they should have these games on for the kids on Nickelodeon without any crowd, because I've heard some swearing. We even throw one punch thrown. So, like I said, study up, kiddos. Make sure this is what football all about. And yeah. So, guys, the Bills got a W, going to the divisional round. I'm pretty sure they scared us all half to death. I know I was at work and my hands were just shaking. I need like a half an hour to recover after that. So we're gonna talk about the game, the good, the bad, the ugly, and what we think about going divisional round. But the whole point is we got the W. So Fred Kilmartin, I'll come to you. What was your thoughts on the game?
Well, I mean, I kind of figured it was going to be this kind of game because, on the other side, they got Frank Wright, and he's going to have this team prepared, and he really did. Their biggest thing they want to do was maintain that clock and keep Josh Allen on the sideline, and they were taking all the time they can. I believe they ended up getting 34 minutes of that game. They maintained the possession of the ball. And on defense, the Colts really had a defensive plan. They attacked us, but ultimately Josh Allen kept his cool, his poise, and he was able to pull the win out.
Really, during this show, we're going to get into the ins and outs, the critiques and praises of this football team and their performance overall. But I felt like this meant a little more to this football team. I'm not sure how many people caught it, but at the end of the game, I saw Sean McDermott. He's not a really emotional person. He doesn't really express himself in that manner all that often. And he just stopped and he locked his arms out and pointed towards the sky. And, it kind of gave me a different feeling. Like, even when they won the division, it still struck me as a team that, they voiced how there was a lot more to this season than just getting that divisional crown. And, there's a lot more to get to this season than just winning that playoff game. But winning that playoff game means a lot to a head coach like Sean McDermott, who this wasn't his first playoff game as a head coach. And you don't win this playoff game, there could be certain questions that arise as to whether or not you can get it done in that stage of the season, because that'd be the third time he goes to the playoffs and he's one and done. So we're better off not having to ask those questions to ourselves. And, the overall vibe in these post-game press conferences was different yesterday. It felt like there was a cloud that lingered over this stadium for a long time, and that cloud no longer lingers, and they got the playoff monkey off their backs.
Yeah, and I thought that was huge. I thought it was really huge to go ahead and get out the way. Like I said, I until we got that first win, I was afraid that this team would start being compared to, as I always say, that late 2000s Bengals team, the Marvin Lewis Bengals, where they were a good team. It was like, this is the year. They're a playoff contender, then they're a Super Bowl contender, division contender, and they could never get past that first win. And I felt like moving forward to that, since you got that first one, going into the next one, these guys should be more confident. And the jitters are kind of out of the system. Like, you got it. You nailed it, So I'm happy that Sean McDermott and the boys got that first one out the way here. So let's break it down, man. Obviously, the defense needed a little bit more work. The offense, I thought we kind of waited for the game plan. What do you guys want to talk about first? You guys want to go defense or offense? Where are we going with this first?
We can talk about the defense because I think that was the most
Okay.
glaring thing that stood out. It's probably the defense again.
Okay. So what you see, man?
I mean, the biggest thing for me is our run defense. I don't think we're getting pressure up the middle to stop these runs. I mean, our linebackers were working their tails off, but if we're not getting that push from our front four, it's not going to help the back end of our defense. And again, I've seen a couple missed tackles. I mean, for the most part, I mean, they put 163 yards on the ground on us, and I still think that was too much. I know they had a two-headed monster that they were running at us, but I still would have liked our defense to shore up a little bit. And we had talked about that this is a time of year that most teams in the NFL in the playoffs they're going to run the ball because of the weather situations, and I think that this is a focus that the Bills really need to focus on going into the next game, to the next round. You got to stop the run.
And really with the defense, you didn't really see many lapses up until the fourth quarter in the run defense. And that's really where I want to go with this. I felt like, they kind of took the aggressive identity that they took on midway through the season. Ever since that Cardinals game, this has been a different defense. They've been far more aggressive, and they've manufactured pressure in a variety of ways. And in this game, it felt like they kind of took a seat back of the aggressive approach that they had adopted over the last half of the season, and it kind of bit them in a way. But up until that fourth quarter, their rushing attack was really mostly held at bay, and it was Phillip Rivers picking this team apart with poorly designed zone coverages, poorly designed soft defenses, and I didn't like what this defense was trying to do. I mean, in the third quarter, you saw them take that aggressive approach, and they were being more aggressive, and they got the Indianapolis Colts defense off the field, offense off the field on consecutive drives as a result. But as soon as that fourth quarter came in, I felt like the momentum of the game kind of changed. Phillip Rivers kind of took that ball and he ran down the field on consecutive drives very fast. And, it was a culmination of a lot of things on the defensive side of the ball. They were on the field a lot yesterday. They were probably gassed in the fourth quarter, and that's why you saw the lapses in execution, such as the missed tackles, the missed assignments on that Jack Doyle touchdown. I felt like a lot of it played into the fact that the Bills were dominated in a time of possession in this game in the first half, and that wore out, and the defense was worn out by the time they got to the fourth quarter.
No, I totally agree. I thought they looked a little gassed to me too, a little bit. To me, it seemed like the defense seemed like a team that was coming off a bye week.
Yeah.
And I do know that we did play our offensive starters a half, but I don't know. I mean, we couldn't generate any pressure. We were kind of weak against the run. A lot of the second and third efforts by Jonathan Taylor just killed us. And, it wasn't second and third efforts for a yard or two. It was second and third efforts for like 5 and 6 yard chunks, which you can have. And then obviously, going back to your point, Clayton, about them seeing gas, you kind of saw that with the change of pace back, Nyheim Hines coming in and just blowing past everybody for a few catches and a few runs in that fourth quarter. What really frightened me, though, was the fact that we let them score within 2 minutes with getting them the ball back at 8 minutes. If you make them have a full drive and they go down there, and even if they score a touchdown like they did, and they score within 4 minutes, and they give you the ball back with 4 minutes, 1 or 2 first downs in that game is over.
Yep.
But we let them go down the field and score so fast that it got really scary, because we give them the ball back with more than 2 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, it was 3-something, right? 3:35 or something like that. Yeah.
And I also want to get later on in the show. I want to get into the game management late, because I was not a fan of the play calling late in this game by the offense. I thought we went overly aggressive. And I just think that's something that if we're going to move forward, we definitely got to fix. But going back to the defensive side of the ball, I agree with the lack of aggressiveness. And I think part of that lack of aggressiveness, because once the snap count came out today, we saw that A.J. Klein played 4 snaps on defense, which is 7%. Now, this is a guy who had been bringing a lot of physicality, a lot of aggression, a lot of toughness to this Bills defense. And in a game where you knew you were going to be playing mano-a-mano with the likes of Braden Smith, Ryan, what's the center's name? Ryan Kelly, Quentin Nelson, 2 tight ends, Mo Alley Cox and Jack Doyle, you knew you would have to play a physical ball game. But yet, we went big nickel package and a lot of Matt Milano. I mean, Matt Milano played a full game. He hasn't played a full game, and I don't even know when. And he looked gassed yesterday because how many mental errors did he make in the fourth quarter of that football game?
And that's the thing that a lot of people are glazing over in this football game. Don't get me wrong. Matt Milano, when he started this game, he was firing out of a cannon. He was making a lot of those Matt Milano-esque plays where, he just looks like an explosive athlete that's physical at the point of attack, which for the most part, that's what he is. But by the time you got to that fourth quarter, Matt Milano hasn't had a whole workload of snaps in a football game since, like you mentioned, Jeremy, who knows what? It was before the Miami game. It was a long time ago, a really long time ago. So I think there are questions and concerns to be had with Matt Milano in his game shape, because game shape's a different thing. You can't replicate it with any kind of conditioning training. There isn't anything you can really do to get in that true game shape other than playing a full length of games. And is that something we can be concerned about? Absolutely. But I felt like the time of possession is really what played into that. And Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds, they both made a lot of mental errors once they got gassed. And you could see that, like you touched on, Jeremy, when they brought in Naeem Hines, when they brought in their scat back, they could just run around. And he's a really elusive player. That's really when you saw how tired this Bills defense really was. And yeah, that was very scary to see, considering how fast the Colts were running up and down the field on this Bills defense.
Well, and then you want to look at that offensive line. I mean, you definitely seen why the Colts invested so much on that offensive line, because we couldn't even put any pressure on Rivers whatsoever because of their offensive line. They were just knocking us around. And that's what the Colts had done. They built that offensive line, and we knew that we were going to be getting mauled by these guys, but we still couldn't put pressure on them. And I noticed about with the defense, when they're breaking down, that's when you see more of those missed tackles, because a lot of times Taylor was getting hit in the back, probably 2 yards in the back, but he was moving forward because we were missing tackles. There were several times I'm like, yeah, we got him. Boom. All of a sudden the guy's 5-6 yards down the field because we were missing tackles. And that goes to being tired. But I'm wondering if it's more because of how young this team is. And maybe they're over amped for this game. You got to look at this team's young all the way across the board, except for maybe Poyer, Hyde, and Jerry Hughes. But the rest of them are all young. So maybe they were just over amped. And sometimes that could get a different effect on you when you're being prepared for a game, overthinking.
You also have to take into consideration here that this is also the first game with fans. And, adding to your point about being juiced and ready to go. This is the first time for a lot of these players in front of fans. And obviously for all these players in front of Bils Mafia for the first game outside of Arizona, which we kind of took over the Cardinal Stadium there with the few fans that they had. Missed tackles is going to be something I think they're going to clean up. And if they're going to have that issue, it's good that we had this issue in our first playoff game to try to correct that moving forward, because this road is only going to get tougher. Because to be honest, the AFC, and look at these few NFC games from yesterday and today, the AFC is here and the NFC is here. Yep. And that's just the way it is. There's one or two teams in Green Bay and maybe New Orleans who could give the AFC a run for their money, but the rest of them are just pure garbage. Yep. It's pure garbage. It's pure trash. It's minor league football over there right now. Okay, I saw two teams that played in the last 2 days in the Redskins. Oh shit! Oops, I cussed too. FCC gonna get me, Jesus. I'm gonna get fined twice. But no, you have two teams in the NFC, and the Bears and the Redskins. I mean, who don't even look like playoff teams. Shouldn't even be in there. But so it's. Thing, but I don't want to get too far off topic and keep going with the AFC. But yeah, it's going to only get tougher. I mean, we're probably, if Pittsburgh wins, we got Pittsburgh coming to town. If the Browns pull this off and beat this psychological battle, then we have the Ravens coming to town. So it's going to be physical football no matter what. Yep. And they better get those missed tackles. Together.
And it's great. This was why McDermott wanted that second seed so bad, because we're going to be at home. We're going to stay at home. That's the benefit of having a playoff home game. You got that home crowd now. You got that home feel. You don't have to travel. That's one less thing you got to prepare for as a head coach. So, I mean, that was smart on his part to go after and get that seed, number 2.
Yeah, I'm cursing. I got it from that Nickelodeon football. Nickelodeon football. I was watching all those curses.
Oh, do you need to be slimed?
Yeah. My mom's gonna slime me if she sees this. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting what we do. I thought that the secondary played particularly. I thought they played all right. I didn't think the secondary played bad. I thought we were a little uptight. I mean, but we did hold Rivers to 27-46, which was 6 yards per catch. I mean, 6 yards per completion as the game went on. So it was just dinking and dunks, which we knew. I didn't expect us to get a lot of sacks on Phillip Rivers. Like I said, this is a 39-year-old quarterback who's not mobile, and he's only been sacked 19 times this year. So I want to give a hats off to that Colts offensive line and that Colts defense, because they gave us one hell of a football game.
You saw it throughout the course of the game. With a veteran quarterback like Phillip Rivers, if you send a blitz at him, he's going to find the open spot in the defense. And also the smart part, the thing is about Phillip Rivers yesterday that a lot of people can know or would notice is when the Bills started sending a lot of exotic looks, when they started blitzing Teron Johnson off the edge, it's not very often the Bills don't get that guy open. It's not very often that guy is not a free rusher. But yesterday, that just wasn't the case. It was blocked up perfectly. He gets up there, he makes his offensive line protection calls, and it was blocked up perfectly, and he had the time necessary to throw. The only pressure the Bills could really generate was up the middle whenever they set those exotic blitzers, and you were losing men for men. And Ed Oliver managed to get free a couple times, and the only time I saw Phillip Rivers really get off the spot where any kind of pressure really affected him. There wasn't really any pressure. It was in his own head, and he overthrew that touchdown pass to Michael Pittman on 4th and goal, which ended up being huge. And that kind of plays into what we really, Jeremy and I were saying throughout the course of the week is, Phillip Rivers, he tends to be a quarterback that can get in his own head at times, which is why you see him make those mistakes. You didn't see him make a lot of mistakes yesterday by any means. He played really a clean game, but that overthrown touchdown, don't get me wrong, Michael Pittman needs to bring that ball down, but that should also be a layup touchdown pass for an NFL quarterback. And if Phillip Rivers wasn't somewhat rattled by Jerry Hughes and Mario Addison, who looked to start to beat their tackles off the edge, if that wasn't there and he didn't feel that and he throws that layup touchdown pass, we're talking about a completely different game at this point. But yeah, you're right. The offensive line for the Indianapolis Colts did a hell of a job protecting their quarterback yesterday.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Fred.
No, I was going to say that I think you're right when you said it. This is probably one of the complete games I've seen of Phillip Rivers in a while, because normally if you can get pressure on him, that's when he does make those mistakes, but we couldn't get near him. That offensive line, maybe that's what he was missing all these years down in with the Chargers, was a big offensive line like he has now.
Stop it. He was missing. He was missing cojones is what he was missing. He wasn't missing no big line. The Chargers had a loaded team.
Yeah, he didn't have that success though. Maybe Frank Reich.
And he's 30 and he's 39 and he's still not. He still blew it. So it doesn't matter. I mean, even though they gave us a game, he still blew it yesterday. He missed he missed some touchdowns down in the goal line. So, he's still a choke artist, I've been saying the whole time. I don't take anything back about what I said about Phillip Rivers. He's still a choke artist. It doesn't change anything. He's just now going to be a choke artist in the broadcast booth or something. Whatever.
He might come.
All those kids, he can start a daycare. But Cody Wells just told us the Bills will be playing Saturday night next week at 8:15. So now I have to figure out what I'm gonna do about work again. This sucks.
Was that confirmed?
Tweeted out.
Yeah, just confirmed. So Cody always don't question Cody. Cody's always on point when he's on this. Don't question my man Cody. But I want to talk about that Hail Mary too. And Micah Hyde made a. I'm not gonna say hell of a play. He did what he was supposed to do on the Hail Mary play. He batted it down. There was no drama, no dramatics this time around. No Hail Murray, no Hail Mary could be like the Charger game and things as such. This goes to show that sometimes when bad things happen to you in the beginning of the season, you learn from it. And yesterday, it seemed like I seen all bunch of hands just swatting down.
Yep.
There no one tried to catch it. Micah had said, no way, not a chance. What do you guys feel about just the Hail Mary bat down and how they played that?
You saw it against the Chargers too. Let's not the Cardinals game wasn't the only Hail Mary that was completed against the Bills defense this year. You saw it at the end of the Chargers game where Herbert, I forget who caught it. I believe it was number 83. I forget his name. I'm sorry, but
what was it Guyton that came out with it?
No, I think Guyton's
Mike Williams.
No,
Mike. No, one Mike.
It wasn't Mike Williams.
It was 83. Leroy will let us know in the comments in a second.
Yeah.
The Bills have allowed multiple completions on Hail Mary passes yesterday. To say I wasn't nervous, that'd be a lie, a complete, utter lie. I was confident that Rivers wouldn't even make it to the goal line, though, and that seemed to be the case. And, yeah, they went up there and tomahawk spiked it down and left no doubt in the air.
Right. You know, the thing is, too, I know a lot of people are asking before we go to Fred's point about Zach Moss. He's out. I don't think they specified what the injury was.
Ankle injury.
I'm not going to specify on air what it is either. But it's probably like a high ankle sprain, to be honest with you, and that's probably 2 to 6 weeks because they didn't say he was out completely, but they said he may not be back for the postseason. And an ankle, normally a high ankle sprain. So
Yeah.
Fred?
Yeah, I touch on the point on the Hail Mary. Yeah, I was kind of nervous as well too. But like you guys are stating, I've seen a lot of Bills players get up high, and then they were swatting that ball down. So it was nice to see Micah Hyde look like he was playing volleyball at the beach. I mean, he spiked that thing so hard to the ground, and that's what I guarantee they worked on that. I mean, it was great that he smacked it down. That was awesome.
That ball's still going down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, we're going to be inserting. I'm going to assume TJ Yeldon. I know a lot of people are asking about Antonio Williams. Me and Fred were talking about before show. I don't see the Bills activating Antonio Williams, even though he had a good Week 17 game. They don't play with rookies and they don't play with young players. They're going to activate the veteran. TJ Yeldon has played in playoff games before. He can play within the passing game. He knows how to pass protect and he can run the football. We're probably going to activate TJ Yeldon, and I hope that we not only activate him, but we use him a part of this offense because I think he could be a really huge asset. And you know what? This is something that whoever we play is not going to have TJ Yeldon in the Bills uniform too much on film. So there's a lot of things you can do with that.
And we know how he is as a pass catcher out of the backfield, so that's going to help out as well too. Because I think we've been using Singletary a lot for that. Now maybe we can continue using him just to run the ball.
Well, they didn't do it yesterday, but they were using Isaiah McKenzie as a receiving back most of the season. They didn't show that look at all yesterday, though.
No.
And before we get to the offense, I want you guys to give the Bills defense. We're going to be releasing a poll tomorrow morning. We did the offense today, so we're letting that go 24 hours. And we'll release another poll tomorrow for the defense to see what you guys gave a grade. So just give a grade for the defensive side of the ball in the chat, and we'll start getting some of these grades on the screen. So switching gears and moving to actually before we go to the defensive side, the offensive side of the ball, how much did Frank Wright hurt his team in this game by being aggressive?
He lost it. He lost it. He blew them their game. Obviously, you can say here and there. It was horrible coach management. Horrible. I don't think he definitely overthought a lot of situations in this football game. If you're on the road and you're in the playoffs, you take your damn points. It doesn't matter how bad you are at finishing. I understand. In this game, you needed touchdowns rather than field goals to beat the Buffalo Bills. But if you take 2 field goal attempts in this game, you win. That's how it is. If you're down there and you're in scoring position, like what we saw with Sean McDermott, obviously you saw the contemplation on the field. Josh wanted to go for it on that 4th down where they were right before Bass attempted the 54-yard kick, but they didn't. Sean McDermott did the smart thing. He sent his kicker out there. If you're in scoring position in the postseason, you take your points no matter what because they're few and far to come by, and you earn every single point. You earn every single down in the postseason. And I think Frank Reich, he definitely got outcoached in this game, or he just outcoached himself.
Yeah, it definitely looked like he was overthinking this game too. Yeah, like you say, especially when you're on the road in a playoff game, and I mean, our crowd was loud, even though we only had 6,700. You got to take points when there's an opportunity to take points. Whether there are 3, you got to take points.
Mike Nealon says he got 4 loyalty points. He got his 4 loyalty points for giving up the game. Jeez, that's rough. That's rough for coaching. That's rough, man.
He's a real one. What can I say?
Yeah, so we got the grades coming. I see a lot of C's, a lot of C minuses. It seems like that's what we're getting for the defensive grade here. Yeah, I thought Frank Wright was overly aggressive. It kind of surprised me because I tend to think Frank is more of a conservative coach, but I'll take it. I get it. You know, you did want to score a touchdown, but like you said, you have to take every point you have. And if the Antonio Pittman ball is caught, like you said earlier, Clayton, yeah, it's a different ball game. But the point was it wasn't caught. And Rodrigo and his kicker as well, missing the field goal kick is Pat Freeman. And thanks for joining us tonight, Pat. Says about Rodriguez missing that kick. You know, the weather effect. I think the weather affected these guys, and we talked about that last week about a dome team coming in here and playing. And even though 40-degree weather is good for Buffalo, it's not great for. It's still cold for a team. They had a lot of drop balls yesterday.
Yes.
And they touched on the wind wasn't not there was wind, but it wasn't Buffalo wind, is what they said. So they were dealing with wind as well.
Right. Leroy says, Leroy got back to us. Tyron Johnson, not Tyron, not our Tyron, but Tyron Johnson caught the ball for the Chargers on the. That's why we have Mud Dog Diggs, man.
He's the digger.
Sorry, stat boy. You know, but no. But moving on, we want to get to the offensive side of the ball, and the offense looked a little shaky at first. We had horrible field position to begin that game. Like, almost felt like the whole first half. Was that our first 3 drives like at the 9-yard line, just about?
Yeah,
it was inside the 10, yeah.
I think Andre Roberts, I think Andre Roberts got a little bit too aggressive. I'm not going to bash him because it's Andre Roberts. He's a Pro Bowler. He knows what he's doing. But the Colts special teams came to play. Oh, do you guys think that Brian Dable did the number one cardinal rule that they say not to do is to change from what got you there in that game yesterday? Fred, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to – I didn't want to say anything, but, yeah, definitely it was. I wasn't really happy with the play calling at all. We looked like we're a totally different team. I don't know what he was trying to do. I didn't understand it. He went away from the play calling altogether, and I wasn't happy. And I don't know if it's the fact that, you know, he's getting all these looks at him right now to be a head coach. Maybe he wasn't prepared for this game. Maybe he didn't do enough, you know, to look into the Colts defense and see how they attack these guys. I don't know what it was, but I just knew that we didn't look right. We looked out of sync. And like you said, we were starting inside the 10, like 3 possessions in a row that we were getting pinned down there, and we just weren't moving the ball. I mean, we just looked out of sync.
I was looking forward to talking about it, but I wasn't, because I don't know. There was such a time where if you said any bad word about Brian Dable, that some people in Bils Mafia was sharpening the pike for your head. That's what it was. But in this game, there's no denying that the Bills' offensive miscues in this game, aside from the Josh Allen fumble, it falls on the shoulders of an offensive coordinator. You're telling me, I understand the field position was challenging. I understand the defense was challenging, but he was not putting this team in the best position to succeed. It's, you know, that's a defense that allowed the second most passing yards throughout the last 6 weeks of the season. It was the strength of this team, was being that aggressive offense. Spread it out and let it fly. That was the identity that this team had adopted. And that was the kind of identity that got them to the point where they were, where Josh Allen re-entered the MVP conversation, that point in the season. And Josh Allen, you know, we saw it yesterday. Despite, you know, the lackluster play calling at times, Josh Allen took over this game, because that's who Josh Allen is. Regardless of play calling, regardless of quarterback draw, regardless of quarterback dive, regardless of quarterback power, he's going to take over football games. But certain situations, some of the play calls were just absolutely asinine. I thought he shot 2 or 3 drives in the moon with absolutely piss poor play calling, and I hate to call it that, but that's what it was. You know, you get 8 yards on first down with Zach Moss. You're not running into one of the better run defenses in football 3 plays in a row. I'm sorry. You get them to 2nd and 8 at your own 13. Why the hell are you running quarterback draw? I feel like, you know, you have to look at the situation 3-dimensionally, which I feel like what he was feeling was he can't really get much going with his running backs, and his best option to run the ball was Josh Allen. He wanted to give his defense some time to rest and some time to, you know, kind of counter what the Colts were doing on the offensive side of the ball and just absolutely controlling time possession in the game. But I don't think he did it in the right manner at all. And yeah, I see a lot of C's in the comment section. That's what I'd give him also. I'd give him a C- for this game.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't understand why they kept running Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen runs the ball better when he's improvising. When he's got the defense spread out, he doesn't find that guy, then he can take off. I just think that when he's getting called upon to run the ball, he just looks out of sync. And I was more worried that he was going to get hit, because he did take a big hit on that one run where he was trying to get down. I don't know what Dable was thinking. That wasn't in our game plan for the last 9 games that we've played, so why put it in there now?
We're talking about the QB draws?
Yeah.
I was fine with it. I was fine with the QB draws for the simple fact that, because it was not in the playbook for the last 9 weeks. That's why I was okay with it. Because when the Colts were looking at the plays, we haven't really ran that too much since the Raider game, since Josh hurt that left shoulder. So I think that caught them by surprise because every time we ran it, they were not prepared for that. Now they were prepared for obviously the goal line sweep. I think every team in the league that plays is going to be prepared for that goal line sweep. But I was okay with it, and it paid big dividends. But what I was not okay with is I felt like we came out, we played conservative. I thought the play calling was conservative, and we were coaching to lose instead of coaching to win. Now somebody told me that they felt like he was keeping something in the back for the second round, which it very well could be possible, but you just don't do that. You know, I think you come out there and you do what you have to do, and you have to do what you got to do. You know, you do what you got you there, and what got us there is by spreading these teams out and killing them. Isaiah McKenzie got 4 snaps yesterday. 4 snaps is what he got. Not one jet motion sweep, not even a look at a jet motion sweep. And that jet motion sweep has been working since before Josh Allen was developed. So to me, that's inexcusable. You cannot run away from what got you there.
And just to go off your point there, Jeremy, with the jet motion sweep, the jet motion sweep is what really helped our run game when it needed help. The jet motion sweep is something that defenses have to account for because Isaiah McKenzie possesses straight line speed unlike anybody else on this Bills offense. Defenses have to account for Isaiah McKenzie, and I kind of alluded to it when we were talking about using a receiving back, using TJ Yeldon. And you talk about, you know, what this Bills offense really has done is they use a short passing attack to supplement what they lack in the running game, which is smart. You know, that's what you're supposed to do. But I just don't understand why Isaiah McKenzie did not get – he got 4 snaps in this game. It makes no sense to me, especially after the game that he had last week. You know, this is an organization that's predicated on guys earning their opportunities, and when you flourish in those opportunities, it earns you more opportunities. And Isaiah McKenzie, he did not get a fair shake yesterday. I thought they would have been wise to at least use that jet motion sweep to try and get something going with that running game with Devin Singletary, who I don't know why he does not give Devin Singletary the ball. I feel like the minute Devin Singletary doesn't get more than 6 yards per carry, the minute Brian Dable thinks, all right, we're scrapping this part of the playbook. And it just doesn't make any sense. You know, I understand trying to get something going with the running game. And I like you said, you know, they didn't run that quarterback draw for such a long time. And I tend to disagree with the point of that's why I was okay with it. I wasn't really okay with the situations they were running in, but I understand why you say that. I don't know why they don't use their running backs. They don't use Devin Singletary at all. It's almost like he's not even a part of this offense. If you're going to run the ball, use your damn running backs. That's always been my thought process. And Devin Singletary is a really good runner. He has really good contact balance. He has really good vision, and he does a good job hitting the hole. He hits the hole hard. And, you know, it just leaves me scratching my head. But, you know, like I keep saying on social media, every win in the playoffs is going to be scrappy. I will take an ugly playoff win over a pretty playoff loss any day. I understand we could talk about style points in the regular season, and we could talk about that until we're blue in the face. But at the end of the day, the Bills won this game. They did what they needed to do to win this game, and we could sit here and critique them and the points that they need to get better. But at the end of the day, they're moving on, and the Indianapolis Colts aren't.
But on your point about McKenzie, the fact is, too, is that Colts Beasley was not 100%, and you saw it in the game. He wanted to be out there, but he wasn't 100%. You've seen it. Every time he caught the ball, he was getting up gingerly. So why not give him in there, sprinkle him in here, but get McKenzie in there and let him make some plays? Even John Brown was quiet. You didn't hear nothing from John Brown. Why didn't we have any focus or any targets to John Brown? I think he had, 1 or 2? Where was that? Where we normally spread them out and we got John Brown. I don't understand what the play calling.
Because John Brown head wasn't in the game. So I mean, that's the one thing I agree with Brian Dable was going away from John Brown and not going back to him. Obviously, John Brown did not come to play football yesterday. He wasn't crisp on his routes. He wasn't paying attention to detail. He dropped 2 balls, I believe. And so, no, I'm okay with going completely away from John Brown. And unfortunately, yes, Cole Beasley was hurt yesterday. He definitely was. There was no yak involved. It was literally catching out of bounds or catching to the ground, which, like I said, that makes me question more of why would we not use Isaiah McKenzie more in this offense. But like you said, we got the W, and that's it. And you're right. I do know McKenzie was on the injury report, but I don't know if he was injured or not. He didn't look injured last week in that Dolphin game. I know he was limited with his ankle this week, but we never really know what the injury report now. Now the Bills have a Bill Belichick type injury report at this point. So we don't really know what the real deal is. We just know that we'll find out like game day. I don't know. I just, we got the dub. That's what really matters. And we can sit here and, like you said, Clay, critique everything. But the truth is this: the Chiefs had 3 ugly wins last postseason, and they won the Super Bowl. They came from behind against the Texans. They came from behind on the Titans, and then they came from behind on the 49ers. And they have rings for it. So, as long as we get the dub, that's all that matters. But can we? Right. I want to everybody give a grade for Brian Daboll's play calling in this game as well, and then we're going to start talking about. I want to talk about Josh Allen a little bit before we get off air, because I know that Browns and Steelers game is starting pretty soon. So I just want to make sure that that we get the fans to watch that game, because obviously that's depends on who we play next. So Josh Allen in this game, he had I thought he had a well of a game. 26 for 35, 324. 3 total touchdowns, one of those being rushing, 11 carries, 54 yards. He put the team on his back. He only had one bad play, in my opinion. Thank God, once again, for Darrell Williams for jumping on that ball. But, yeah, Josh Allen. Oh, guys, don't forget, put your grades in the chat for Brian Daboll. I just want to see what you guys think here, and I'll get someone on the screen here.
Can we talk about that play for a second?
Sure.
So here's where I sit with that football play. Bottom line is, Josh Allen needs to hold on to that football. But if you go back and you watch it, John Feliciano got absolutely whooped on that rep. Absolutely whooped. He was on his face when Josh Allen was getting hit by the free rusher that he let through. And Josh, you always see it. You always see him fight to stay up. You always see him fight for extra yards or play until the whistle. That's what Josh Allen does. And at the end of the day, that mindset, that mentality, that's what makes Josh Allen great. And the thing is he stopped making those mistakes with his arm, and now you're starting to see it kind of bleed into where he's getting brought down by the defender, and he doesn't know just to go down, just go down. And if Josh Allen were to go down every time he almost got sacked, I don't know. You're kind of taking away a large facet of what Josh Allen does that makes him one of the better football players in the National Football League. But at the same time, he needs to hold on to that football, and thank goodness for Darrell Williams that he got on top of it, or else we might be talking about the end of the season tonight.
Right.
Yeah, but we already know that that's one of the tendencies with Josh is when he's in trouble that they're going to go after that ball. Everybody knows it. I mean, when he runs it, I know he's cleaned it up. He hasn't had that issue, but that's one of the weaknesses of Josh Allen is that when he's in trouble, go after the ball because it's the way he holds it. And yeah, you're right. If it wasn't for Darrell Williams, we probably would have lost this game.
Yeah, I mean, now as we go down the field and score a touchdown like 50 seconds left, it's possible, but you never know. I got faith in Josh. I know a lot of people didn't like the picture I put on Instagram with the Josh Allen head on the Christ's body, but hey, it is what it is. Deal with it. Now, all in all, the guys got the win. I mean, hopefully we get the running game sprinkled in here a little bit more. I think that with TJ Yeldon, I'm assuming he's going to be activated. Unless they do a surprise move and activate Antonio Williams over, which I highly doubt. You're going to need, like I said, when you come into a game like this, you're going to need a veteran presence. I know a lot of people are asking us, who do we prefer at this point? So now we know the Ravens won. Who do we prefer? The Ravens, the Steelers, or the, what's the other team?
No, you're going to play the Ravens or Steelers. Titans are out.
Okay, Ravens. Yeah, Titans are out.
Yeah,
They're right.
Yeah, well,
so Ravens and Steelers. Who do we prefer?
At this point in time, to be honest with you, I don't think I care. I don't think it makes a difference who we play, to be quite honest with you. We know that all we have to do is stop the Ravens. All we have to do is stop Lamar Jackson if we play against him. We contained him last year when we played against him. There's wide receivers are banged up, so he doesn't have those wide receivers. He's got a couple tight ends. But for the most part, I think we contain them. And then you look at Pittsburgh Steelers, they're going to come in here. They're going to be hungry. They're going to want to make a statement against us because of what we did to them on Sunday night. Can we beat them 3 times in a row? Who knows? But with Big Ben, you know that once we can get pressure on him, he's not that mobile. If we shut down their running game, which we have. So to me, it doesn't matter either or who we play. Both games are winnable at this point.
Why? He won us the game.
I don't know why. Richard, you got to explain to us why you gave him a C. I'm just curious.
If you have any other quarterback other than Andrew Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes, you lose the game.
I do want to hear the reason. I mean, maybe he has a reason why he gave him a C. Maybe it was the fumble. I don't know. We got to see.
I didn't see that.
He gave Josh Allen a C, and I'm fine with it. I mean, everybody's had to pay. I'm just trying to figure out
he made one mistake in the game. I wouldn't give the guy a C.
But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm curious to see what the grade is on that one. But no, for me, I I don't know. I kind of want to see the Bills Ravens matchup, and that maybe it's just as a football fan, because the Ravens beat us last year, and I want to see how this defense plays with Lamar Jackson. You sometimes you have to be careful what you ask for in life, and giving a veteran quarterback like Ben Roethlisberger a second look at you, sometimes may not be the best thing for you. You're going against them twice. The Ravens beat us last year, so I don't know how many changes they're going to make. They're probably going to approach the game of attacking Josh Allen the same way they attacked him last year. But this Josh Allen is different than Josh Allen from last year they saw. And we also have Stephon Diggs at it.
Yep.
Schematically, the Bills match up incredibly well with the Ravens defense, offense to defense. If the Bills line up with the Ravens defense, I'm very confident that you're going to see a much more potent offense than you saw today against the Ravens in comparison to the Titans. But, I watched Lamar Jackson today. And I made sure to watch that game because I wanted to see what football player was going to show up, what Lamar Jackson was going to show up. And I saw a really motivated runner. I saw a really motivated guy who wanted to go out there and put that narrative to bed that he can't win the playoffs. And I'm right there with you, JT. I really want to see that Ravens-Bills matchup. It has nothing to really do with the Bills. This is going to be that'd be such a good football game, guys. Such a good football game. I look forward to that, and I think the Bills match up incredibly well with them, and the Ravens match up incredibly well with the Bills. And it is really difficult to beat a solid coached football team like the Pittsburgh Steelers twice in 1 year. So, like you said, Jeremy, be careful what you wish for. I'm not picking. I don't want to face the Steelers next week. And is that the most likely scenario? Probably the most likely scenario. But I will take Ravens. I would take the Ravens over the Steelers. Purely because, I don't know. I think the Steelers could give the Chiefs a run for their money. Either way, I think if the Bills end up playing the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, they're going to be coming in beat up.
Yeah. So I mean, no matchup is an easy matchup in the AFC. Let's be honest about it. No matchup is an easy matchup at all. And obviously, as everybody's saying, the Browns are up 7-0. There's a snap over Ben Roethlisberger's head, and the Browns returned it or recovered for a touchdown. They're up 7-0 within 14 seconds. So, like I said, Ravens may be coming to town. The only thing about the Ravens, it seems like they're kind of hitting their stride. They're getting hot at the right time, just like we did. But you're going to have two hot football teams going at each other, which, like I said, it's for a reasonable clash. As if the Browns hold on. The Browns have a psychological problem versus the Steelers. So we'll see what happens. Other than that, I mean, I thought Coach McDermott prepared this team pretty well yesterday. I thought he had his guys ready to play. Outside of a few mistakes here and there from the team, I thought, he's put himself in the top tier coaches in the NFL.
You can't deny him of it. You can't. Sean McDermott, we've seen it in Buffalo these last 3 years. We've seen the evolution from what the team was in 2017 when he first got here to what is ultimately been built into a Super Bowl contender. And the things that he continues to preach on a week-to-week basis, whether win, lose, or draw, he is an excellent football coach. He is an excellent football coach on the whiteboard. He just top to bottom. I don't think anybody can really deny that Sean McDermott's one of the 3 or 4 best coaches in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think about everything that they've done up there, all the records that they broke. It's a lot of it and has to do with McDermott keeping this team focused. And, with the pandemic and everything, we could have lost a lot more players, but they're focused. And a lot of it is the way he's coaching these kids up. I mean, he's got them focused. He's got them prepared. And every week they seem to come in and they're prepared.
Every week. And it's not, and now they're getting that, as I said in an earlier show, that as this team gets better and they continue to grow and they continue to win, what's going to end up happening is you're going to start seeing them get those late game turnovers. Like I said before, the Patriots are the team that we all look at as the gold standard, right? As far as the dynasty and everything. They didn't blow everybody out. They literally had one season where they blew everybody out of the water. But a lot of those other games were close, just like yesterday, 27-24, 21-24, 31-28. But the defense made those plays, or the offense made those plays when they needed to make them. Now you're starting to see the Bills take that next step and make that evolution to make those plays as well. And as long as we continue to do that, then the sky's the limit. You're going to build something here.
And kind of just to go off your point, the Bills should have had a turnover to end the game yesterday. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And I saw Anthony Nelson brought it up, and you're talking about making opportune plays. What a football play by Jordan Poyer. What a football play. You're talking about a guy. I mean, was it a little lucky that he simultaneously didn't touch him as the guy was bringing up his knee? At the end of the day, the play wasn't reversed like it should have been. But the Bills made a football play. That gave him a little bit of juice. If you're on that defense, I wouldn't be feeling defeated. I'd feel slighted. And you've seen it throughout the course of this season. The team that's able to force opportune turnovers, the team that's able to make plays when they need to make them most. And that's really been the Bills' defensive identity this year. This isn't a dominant defense like it was in 2019. This isn't a dominant pass rush by any means. There is no dominant thing about this Bills defense except they make opportune plays when they need to. And that's good enough a lot of times in the NFL.
Yeah, I tell you what, if the Bills would have lost that game and that call was missed, I think all of Bils Mafia would have stormed the NFL office in New York.
They backed it up on Twitter too.
Yeah, that's awful. It was a missed call.
Yeah, because if he got up, he was definitely his objective was to get up and try to get more yardage or go to score. So by rights, I don't know how they did not call it a fumble. No part of his body down.
I get why they did not call it a fumble, though, because the problem was it wasn't the fact they didn't reverse it, because it was this close, and you can't see all angles if someone touched the body or not. It was really close. But the problem was on the field, the play should have been called a fumble. Yeah. That was the biggest mistake. You let it play out, then you review it to see if you had to reverse it. But they almost cost us that game.
Mm-hmm.
They almost cost us that game. And I think, the Bills defense went into lockdown mode right after that call. I think it really peed them off, and it created a sense of urgency for them. But, kudos to this team.
Kudos to Sean McDermott calling that timeout, too. That timeout.
Yes. How much better has he gotten with how much better has he got just with his game management over the years?
180.
When he first started.
He was worse than Andy Reid. He was worse than Andy Reid when he got here. He learned all of his game managing skills from Andy Reid, and I saw a lot of people questioning why they weren't calling turnovers before the half when the Colts were trying to run the ball into the end zone before halftime, right before their 94-yard drive. Well, it's because you want your timeouts so you can go down the field and score a touchdown. Why are you calling timeouts before a 2-minute warning? The clock's about to stop, and they have 2 downs. But, by the way, no. Sean McDermott did an incredible job yesterday, top to bottom.
By the way, the Browns got another interception. So,
oh, my God, seriously?
They're trying to get the money off their back as well.
Proving Juju wrong.
Before we leave, I want to touch on the last topic, and I really want to touch on is Stephon Diggs. I know everybody want to get here and watch this game. What an addition this guy has been. Outside of Cordelius Bennett trade, this may have been the most impactful Bills trade I've ever seen in my lifetime. He's come in. He's a big-time player. He's an alpha. No moment is too big for this dude. As we said, he wants all the smoke.
Mm-hmm.
What an addition has Stephon Diggs been, and what he brings to this team, just the attitude, the swagger, and just the big playability. You make one mistake on him, and it's a touchdown.
And what did we touch on last year after the Texans game? The Bills need to have that guy. They got that guy. That was the addition that they needed. They still need more weapons, absolutely. But like you touched on, this is probably one of the biggest trades that the Bills have made that worked out since Biscuit, since bringing him in there.
Jeremy, since we're talking about it, this reminds me something, because the Bills put together about a 20-minute documentary this week, kind of encapsulating their road to the playoffs to this point. And I heard Dion Dawkins touch on what it meant to add Stephon Diggs to this roster, and what all he had to say, and it was really powerful. When you watch Stephon Diggs, he makes you want to be great. Greatness makes you want to be great, and that goes in part in what you see by the gentleman standing behind him after he threw a hell of a touchdown pass to him. Those two play off of each other in a way that I haven't seen two players play off of each other on this football team in my entire life. These two play off of each other. And considering the competitors they are, considering the drive that they have, and considering, just how talented both individuals are, that's a very scary combination. It's going to be a very scary combination for a lot of years here in Buffalo.
And you look at the chemistry that they have for the short time that they were available to be together. Think about what these two are going to be like when they have a full off season to work out and to have the mini camps, the training camps, and preseasons, how that chemistry is going to be.
And if they win a Super Bowl, that's the greatest trade in franchise history. Hands down.
Oh yeah, hands down. Not even a question at that point. Like I said, those Bills teams in the '90s were great teams, but let's keep in mind, this team wins one Super Bowl and
forget it. The '90s. Well, Clayton doesn't have to forget them. We didn't see them.
I watched. I'm not emotionally connected to them like a lot of people are, but the facts are the facts.
I am. And then what's really bad is that we kept seeing that Music City Miracle all weekend. I'm like, come on, I'm tired of seeing it. Just bury that film already. Jeez.
Right. No, I get it. So I mean, happy we got this guy. I'm happy we're not playing against him because it's very close that we could have been playing against him. We could have been. He could have been in New England. I know New England made the call before Buffalo made the call for him, and the Vikings said, no, thank you. I mean, everybody kind of boycotted Bill Belichick there and traded to New England Patriots, and we'll reap the fruits of that benefit. We'll benefit from that. Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah. So, but guys, I mean, I think we pretty much covered everything. We're going to get to this Brown-Steelers game and see who we play next week. It's gonna be a good one, no matter what. Hopefully we come back and we fix up the few issues that we had, but I think this team will. They usually respond well. So we'll get around horn, get our final thoughts, and we'll wrap it up. Clayton?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time out of their evenings every single week to watch this show. And watch all the shows we have here on this platform. The amount of growth that we have. We had another post go viral yesterday. It's crazy. You guys do nothing but embrace us the way you embrace your football team, and we couldn't be more appreciative of it. And I can't even really put into words the amount of gratitude that I have for Bils Mafia, always tuning into this show, always tuning into the Overtime podcast, always watching the Pressure Front, always watching the Tailgate Show. It's incredible, and it's a lot of fun. And without you guys, this really wouldn't be possible.
Yep. Fred,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks. I thank everybody, too. I'm watching how the page is growing and everything. I just want to make sure that everyone still be safe out there. I know the fans are in the stands, and it's great to see. Just still make sure you're doing those things, the social distancing, wear a mask, wash your hands. We want to continue this season, and the last thing we want is any of our fans or any of our players getting sick. So be sure you guys are doing the right thing.
Yeah, definitely. Make sure, please stay safe. Hopefully, they have to go through state approval, but we'll get another 6,700 fans next week to come into the game. So it was nice. I'm happy to see somebody got to go to the game. I know our Brandon Koch got to go to the game. That was pretty cool. I actually know a guy from my city too, Nick Coakley, drove up to Buffalo and went to the game too. So it was nice to see, fans in the stands and to see the Bills get some support as well. Before we go, Tyler Bass did broke a record yesterday, and we don't want to leave Tyler Bass out because we know how much people hated Tyler Bass by week 2 when the house got back. So I want to make sure, we get that. But Tyler Bass did break the record for the longest field goal in the playoffs by a rookie at 54 yards. And man, did he nail that thing. He put that thing right through the uprights. And people's like, he shouldn't be celebrated. He's a kicker. I love it, man. I freaking love it. I'm good for as a Marquette King. All time celebrating. He's out of the league for something.
Wait a minute. Did you see the tackle he made on special teams? What are you talking about? This kid should celebrate.
I didn't see that. I gotta get that.
Yeah, he destroyed him. Are you kidding me?
Why was he celebrating that? What? Why would he not celebrate that?
Yeah, he's part of this team. Why would he not celebrate?
It doesn't juice you up at all. Have you ever competed in your life? What?
Yeah, this guy, he's not really that big, but that kickoff. Go back and try to find that, and he smacked him.
I like it. I like the swagger, man. He reminds me of the dude from what was the Irish dude name in the Keanu Reeves movie, the kicker, man.
Oh yeah, he's wiry.
Yeah, I love him, man. Let's go, dude. I'm with it.
He's wiry.
Yeah, I'm with it, man.
Juice just ran through that whole defense.
Who?
Jarvis Landry.
Oh, okay, yeah, they're gonna beat those guys, the bums. But yeah, let's wrap it up. Let's get up out of here so everybody can catch the game, and then we'll catch you guys next week, hopefully with another bucket hat. We're going for a record 15th bucket hat in the season, so we'll see what happens. I think you'll be live when, Clayton.
We're going live Wednesday morning. We're going to be talking, and we're going to recap this Colts game a little bit, but we'll talk about the issue at hand, whether it's the Baltimore Ravens or the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, 10:30, 11:30, somewhere in there. It depends on when I feel like waking up that day, really.
All right. This guy doesn't have a time schedule. He's late. He's been late to his own funeral. Um, yeah. So I mean, what else we got here? I should be live Thursday with Zoe. We'll see what happens because now in my work schedule, I'm gonna see if I can work Thursday instead of Saturday night. We'll see what happens. But guys, another great show. Thanks for tuning in and catch you guys later, huh?